The movie begins with a house party where a guy named Cole is looking for his younger brother Duckett. Soon after, Cole finds him confined in a room, so he busts down the door and takes Duckett out while he is murmuring to himself about his father. Cole is terrified hearing this because their father died many years ago. As he brings Duckett downstairs, Cole notices several people recording them, so he shouts at them to stop. However, just a few moments later, Duckett takes out a knife and runs it through Cole's body. After that, he stabs himself in his own eyes, horrifying everyone around him. In the next scene, we meet a 17-year-old girl named Mia, who's still deeply affected by the death of her mother, even though it's been 2 years. Her relationship with her father, Max, is not great, so she doesn't have many friends or close family members to turn to. Therefore, Mia finds comfort in spending time with her best friend Jade and her family. That evening, Mia receives a call from Jade's brother Riley, who's left stranded because Jade forgot to pick him up. Acting swiftly, Mia goes to pick him up, and during the car ride, the two of them share a fun moment singing together. However, something strange happens as they come across a severely injured and dying kangaroo on the road. Riley suggests that they should run over the animal to end its suffering, but Mia finds herself unable to do that, so she drives away, leaving the injured kangaroo behind. Later on, the two arrive home and Mia goes to see her best friend Jade. It turns out that Jade is now in a relationship with a guy named Daniel, who happens to be Mia's ex-boyfriend. However, Mia isn't bothered by this since it was a long time ago when they were kids. Shortly after, Mia and Jade discover a party on social media thrown by their friends. Rumor has it that they're doing some creepy, dark stuff with the party guests, but Jade believes it's all fake. However, she somehow convinces Mia to go, mainly because Daniel will be there. So, with Riley, the three sneak out and head to the demon party. When they finally arrive at the venue, they meet the hosts, Joss and Haley. They have just gotten a bizarre artifact, which is a human hand wrapped in ceramics. Haley and Joss introduce them to the game Talk to Me. Apparently, the goal of this creepy game is to grasp onto the hand so the spirits can be summoned. Hearing this, Mia steps up to be the one to potentially contact a demon. She's then securely tied to a chair, and Haley lights a candle on the table before her. Next, Joss places the creepy hand in front of Mia. They instruct her to shake their hand and utter the phrase, "Talk to me," just before they switch off all the lights. As Mia follows their instructions, she's startled to see an elderly man sitting before her in the darkness. Frightened by this, she quickly withdraws her hand from the ceramic hand. However, with the encouragement of her friends, she gathers her courage and resumes this freaky game. This time, Mia sees a creepy old woman, but she bravely shakes the hand again and utters the words, "I let you in." Soon after that creepy interaction, Mia begins to act maniacally, speaking in a strange, frightening voice. She points to Riley and says that the spirits are interested in him and like him. The door mysteriously creaks open, and as the clock approaches 83 seconds, Joss tries to pull Mia away from the hand, fearing the 90-second time limit. However, the evil force resists, and a possessed Mia urges Riley to run away. After a little over 90 seconds, Mia's friends manage to pull her away from the hand. They also extinguish the candle, and Mia finally regains her senses. Later that night, Riley's having trouble falling asleep, thinking about what happened earlier. He's afraid to sleep alone, so he goes to Jade's room, but she refuses to let him sleep with her. He then walks into the living room where he notices Mia and asks if he can sleep with her. Mia agrees and he lies down with her. As they chat, Riley asks her how it feels to be possessed by the spirit, to which Mia responds that it feels incredible. Furthermore, she tells him that it felt like she was floating in the air during that time. Riley soon falls asleep, and Mia grabs the phone from his grasp. That night, while Mia and Riley are sleeping, we see a demonic hand tenderly caressing Riley's face. The next day, Jade approaches Haley and suggests playing the game again because Daniel wants to participate this time. Later that night, all their friends gather at Jade's house. Right then, Jade's mother advises her children not to take alcohol and drugs, after which she leaves the house. Later, Mia becomes curious and asks Joss about the hand and its backstory. In response, Joss reveals that the hand belonged to a psychic who frequently communicated between the living and the dead worlds. However, after the psychic's death, her hand was chopped down and plastered to serve as a communication device. Soon, the game begins, and Daniel sits in front of the hand reciting, "Talk to me," and "I let you in," which causes him to be possessed. However, the spirit in control of Daniel reveals that he dislikes being touched by Jade, which shocks her. After that, the spirit begins masturbating in Daniel's body. While Daniel's humming on the floor, Jade's dog approaches and licks his mouth, much to the disgust of his friends who record the whole incident on their phones. Now, after Daniel comes to his senses, everyone starts taking turns playing the game with the hand. They have a lot of fun doing this and also make videos of each other getting possessed. However, Jade decides not to participate in the game. But on the other hand, Riley says that he also wants to play with the spirits. Since he's too young, Jade refuses him, leading to a heated argument between the siblings. Now, Riley gets angry and insults his sister, but Jade still refuses him and goes to her room. As she leaves, Riley begs Mia to let him play once. Naturally, Mia can't refuse his polite request, and she allows him to play for 50 seconds instead of 90 because it could be dangerous for a kid like him. Filled with excitement, Riley sits down and claims he's ready to play the game. But instead of being possessed by an ordinary spirit, it appears he's taken over by the spirit of Mia's late mother. When the 50-second limit approaches, others try to intervene, but Mia pleads for more time to talk with her mom. At first, the spirit talks about pleasant things to Mia and expresses how much she misses her, but suddenly, things take a horrifying turn when Riley becomes violently banging his head on the table in front of him. He even tries to gouge out his own eyeballs before being thrown across the room. Soon, Jade arrives at the scene and they manage to remove the hand from Riley. However, he's in a dire condition and urgently requires medical attention, so they rush him to the hospital. A while later, the police arrive at the scene and start questioning about what happened. After all this, Mia gathers her belongings and returns home, where her father tries to talk to her, but the agitated girl simply ignores him and walks to her room. Later, Mia decides to visit the hospital where Riley's been admitted. However, Jade and her mother turn her away, holding her responsible for what happened to him. Mia tries to explain the situation to them, but Jade's mother threatens to call the police if she doesn't leave. At that moment, Mia catches a brief glimpse of her mother's spirit in the hospital, but it vanishes quickly. In the next scene, we see Mia extremely upset, and she returns home with Daniel. She's scared to be alone and asks him to stay with her for the night. The two then go to her place and begin reminiscing about the time when they used to date. Mia's convinced she met her mother's ghost because no one addresses her as me. However, Daniel argues that these spirits can take over a person and gain access to their memories. Soon after that, the two fall asleep, and Mia has a dream where she kisses Daniel, after which she witnesses her mother's death. When she wakes up, she suddenly sees the old woman's spirit approaching Daniel and sucking on his foot. In a moment of panic, Mia tries to wake him up, and when Daniel finally wakes, he's horrified to see that Mia is sucking his foot. This freaky sight terrifies him, prompting Daniel to leave the house right away. After that, Mia takes the hand and sets up a candle, determined to contact her mother's spirit. She recalls the traumatic scene of her mother's death when she found her clawing at their bedroom door, so she thinks that it might have been an accidental overdose rather than a voluntary death. In her conversation with her mother's spirit, Mia asks if she killed herself. The spirit reassures Mia that it was purely accidental and she would never have willingly left her. Furthermore, the spirit reveals that Riley's in severe pain right now and desperately needs help. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Jade's in the bathroom trying to clean up Riley. Suddenly, Riley regains consciousness and bites Jade's hand. But weirdly, he bursts out laughing and bangs his head against the wall again. Apparently, the demon within him is trying to hurt him, but luckily, the doctor intervenes and takes control of the situation. In the next scene, all the friends meet and begin discussing how to help Riley. Mia asks where he got the hand, and Joss reveals he got it from Duckett, who we saw kill himself at the beginning of the movie. Since Duckett is dead, they decide to seek out his brother, Cole, for more information. Eventually, they find Cole, but he gets angry and blames Joss for introducing Duckett to the demonic hand that led to his demise. However, after Jade explains her brother's situation, he reveals that the longer spirits inhabit Riley, the weaker they become, suggesting that their best course of action might be to wait it out. However, Mia thinks time is running out for Riley, so she comes up with an idea. She plans to get Riley to finish the game because she believes they failed to extinguish the candle during his possession. So she, Jade, and Daniel head to the hospital to rescue Riley from the spirits. In the meantime, Mia decides to travel to the spirit world to save Riley's soul. There, she meets the soul of a small girl in a vision and begs the child to bring her to Riley. Eventually, the girl lets Mia in and shows how Riley's being tormented in limbo by several other violent spirits. Right at that moment, Mia comes to her senses crying and informs her friends that the spirits are not going to stop hurting Riley. Following that, Mia arrives at her house where her father, Max, approaches her and tries to reveal the truth about her mother's death. He shows Mia her death note, confirming her death was not accidental. As Mia cries in her room, she sees her mother's spirit, who insists that Max wrote the note as a lie. Her mother also claims that Riley's suffering and can only be saved through death. Mia then has a hallucination that she's being attacked by a spirit that looks like her father. So when her actual father comes to help her, she impulsively stabs him in the neck. Mia, who's now entirely possessed by the spirits, believes that the only way to save Riley is to kill him and put him out of his misery. So a few moments later, she calls Jade and tells her to come to her house, claiming she knows what to do about the situation. However, it turns out that she just wanted Jade to leave the hospital while she went to see Riley. But just then, Jade's mother appears and apologizes for what she said earlier. She tells Mia that she's not to blame for what happened to Riley since he suffered from a mental breakdown. Next, Mia asks for a moment alone with Riley, so his mother leaves the room. On the other hand, Jade discovers Max bleeding at home and calls an ambulance. She also calls her mother to warn that Mia is dangerous and might hurt Riley. At that moment, Mia breaks Riley out of the hospital and takes him to the side of a busy highway. As cars speed past, Mia's demon mother encourages her to push Riley down the street and that she'll take care of him in the afterlife. However, Mia finally snaps out of it and throws herself in front of a speeding car. When Mia awakens, she's standing in the middle of the highway wreckage. She then notices Jade holding Riley by the roadside. Suddenly, Mia finds herself walking through the halls of the hospital, but everything seems distorted and strange. Riley has miraculously recovered and is leaving with Jade and Sue. Max also appears to be healed, but when Mia tries to follow him, no one can hear her and the lights in the hospital begin to fade. She's then drawn to a distant light where she notices a candle and a hand on a table. However, when she clutches the hand, she's confronted by a Greek man who reacts in horror, just like Mia and her friends did when they saw a ghost. This implies that Mia has passed away and is now a spirit in the world of the dead.